Now, what happens when you get arrested for a DUI? So for a DMV hearing, they're looking for three different things. They're looking to see whether you were driving a motor vehicle, whether you were lawfully stopped, and whether you had a blood or breath results of a 0.08% or higher. If all three of those elements are met, the DMV is likely to suspend your license. Now, how long that suspension is depends on how many DUIs you have in your record. If it's your first offense, for example, you could have a license suspension of 30 days and a restricted period after that. Or if it's a second or third DUI, it could be a 90-day hard suspension where you can't drive at all and then you have to get a restricted license. Or it could be something where if it's a chemical test refusal, as I discussed in previous videos, you could lose your license for an entire year. Now, it's very, very important that you follow these instructions here that you are going to contact the driver safety office within 10 days of your arrest. By doing so, you essentially put a pause in any suspension that could happen for your driver's license. It doesn't mean that you're going to keep your license. It doesn't mean that you're going to be driving without any restrictions whatsoever, but it puts a pause in the ability to suspend your license. And these hearings are done with a hearing officer. They're not done with a judge. They're not done at a courthouse. They're not even done with a lawyer. They're done with essentially police officers that act as hearing officers for the purposes of this hearing. Now, these hearing officers review the reports in the case, the evidence provided to see if those three elements are met and whether or not they are going to suspend your license. You're able to make arguments on the record, argue as to the validity of evidence. You can make objections to evidence, and you can introduce your own evidence as well, so long as you follow the evidence code. That's why these types of hearings are not the types of hearings that you should be doing by yourself. They should be hearings that you have a lawyer represent you on because they will help you to try and win these DMV hearings. Now, winning a DMV hearing doesn't mean your criminal case goes away, but it does mean you have the potential to keep your license and continue driving while your criminal case goes through the system and works towards resolution.